Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, hope you're doing well. Today you join me in this very pretty 2013 Toyota GT86. This is a compact sports car which is rear-wheel drive and powered by a 4-cylinder Subaru Boxer engine. Subaru of course launched their own version, the Subaru BRZ. It is essentially the same car. This particular car, I think, looks really good in this dark grey, which really sets off the body styling. With the diamond cut painted alloy wheels as well, it's a very modern and smart package. Most GT86s that I've owned have got quite bold interior styling. The colours on the interiors are just strikingly bold and blocky. You've got a huge red section against black, and the steering wheel, the whole outer side is completely red, and it's not completely to my taste. Some people would love it, of course, but this particular one is finished really nicely in black leather with this red diamond stitching and lots of red stitching accents around the whole interior, which I think looks absolutely gorgeous. The seats themselves are very smart looking as well. They're very comfortable. When I first got into them, I felt as if I was sitting across the front, but slowly my muffin tops have formed their way around to the front, and I'm now cocooned in these seats. Exceptionally comfortable and very well supported. The steering wheel as well is finished really nicely. The vast majority of it is leather, including the airbag cover in the centre, and it's got some silver plastic styling. I love this steering wheel. It's very simple. There's no steering wheel controls, which I guess if they could have found a way to make it visually appealing, I would have liked, but I understand the idea is raw sports car experience. It's directly in front of you, it is facing you, and it is nice and chunky. It reminds me very much of a Porsche Cayman steering wheel, which I've reviewed in other videos, see that here. And with the steering wheel and the seat, there is almost infinite adjustment. Up, down, back, forwards. The steering wheel has got reach and rake, so up and down, back and forth towards you, so that you can get a nice sporty driving position. Every one of these GT86s that I've owned have come pretty well spec'd. They've all seemed to come with a nice multimedia unit with sat-nav, with touchscreen digital display, which is nice, bright, vibrant, and looks nice and modern. It's, you know, it's not too clunky and chunky, which can sometimes be the downfall of these multimedia units. It's got cruise control, it's got heated seat for the front. You're not particularly going to worry about the back ones because no one's going to fit in there anyway. Well, that sounds pretty good, right? So let's see what else it can do. I don't know if you can hear in here, but there is quite a lot of road noise, and you do feel and hear pretty much every bump. It is quite a firm ride, so for daily driving it's not the comfiest thing in the world, but it's not offensive. The 2-litre normally aspirated engine in this car produces 197 horsepower from the factory, and the majority of that power is made between 4 and 7,000 RPM, and the car revs to 9,000, so you do have to wring its neck. So let's go and wring its neck. Engine-wise, it kind of really reminds me of a VTEC engine, Honda Civic Type R, Integra Type R. You really have to get up into the higher revs to feel like you're actually getting somewhere. (6,000 RPM) and we are starting to gather some momentum. It's not slow, but it's certainly not ripping your face off. This car's more about the driving experience. This car definitely is best enjoyed with the traction control off, but only if you're confident. You don't want to end up like these lads. Now I have to admit, the more I drive this car, the more it is growing on me. When I first got into it, looks and features wise, it's right up my street. I think the car looks absolutely gorgeous. I think they've hit the nail on the head. But the performance, I felt, was really lackluster. But having driven it with some gusto now, I do feel like, incredibly, the millions they have spent on R&D with this car has probably led them to the correct engine with the correct chassis package. Any more power with this chassis and setup, and I think you're asking for trouble. It feels somewhat skittish, and there's a slight feeling of lack of grip, which keeps it really exciting, but the whole time that does feel controllable. You don't ever feel like, my god, I am going to spin 360 here and end up in a ditch. It wants to kick out, and it's squirming, and it's keeping it fun, but it's not getting away from itself. But if, when I hypothesised first getting into this car, I wonder what it would be like with a Subaru 2.5 turbocharged STI lamp in it, that would make a car. But then I think you are just asking to die. There are, of course, performance modifications you can make. There are turbocharger and supercharger kits for this car, which obviously give you more power. But for me, I think you have to accept this car for what it is and where it sits in the market. This is closer to a Mazda MX-5 than it is a Porsche 911. It's a sports car. It's there to be enjoyed. For me, this sits somewhere in between 10-year-old hot hatches and 20-year-old sports cars. It is in between, say, an Astra VXR GTC, which I've just reviewed, or a Porsche Cayman S, which I've also had on the channel. It's not so fast that you're never going to get to enjoy its full potential unless you take it to a track. And even then, perhaps you're not someone who wants to do that. Perhaps you don't want to go as fast as humanly possible in that vehicle. You just want a nice sports car, and you want to be able to feel like you're enjoying it, and you are really having some driving input. Well, this car certainly ticks that box. It is direct, it is nimble, it is fun, but it's just not heroically fast. For me personally, this is a car that I can appreciate for what it is, but it doesn't call me to come back and drive it. The fact that the vast majority of the engine noise is coming from the front, well, yes, the engine is up the front, but it's all induction noise. There's no real exhaust note for me to speak of. So rather than doing huge performance modifications on one of these cars, i.e. a supercharger or a turbocharger, I think a nice sports exhaust and maybe a nice air intake would really make you feel like you could enjoy this car a bit more. There'd be a bit more noise and character while you are driving around, even if you're not driving absolutely at the limit. I think this is a fantastic car, but if it were my money, I think I would be looking at something along the lines of a Porsche Boxster, a Porsche Cayman, and perhaps putting a nice head unit in it so that I had some of the features that this car has. But again, that's just my opinion. We've all got one. I'd always be interested in hear yours. If you made it this far, please do like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next video.